Good evening, everybody. This is Nimrod from the Audio Couple, and tonight we'll actually review a loudspeaker. And in this case, it's the Bowers & Wilkins from the 600 series. And this model number is the 606. And yes, a lot of technology in this loudspeaker, especially in the actual materials used, or the actual cone, mid-bass driver, and then of course the dome tweeter. So the cone material, or the technology behind the cone, is actually called the Continuum technology from Bowers & Wilkins, and originally developed for the 800 series. And they stated on their website that it took them about 8 years worth of research and development to come up with this new cone design, together also of course with the tweeter design. So what can I tell you about this loudspeaker? Yeah, of course it's a stand mount, or what we also call a bookshelf loudspeaker, and it's a bass reflex design with a port at the back, and quite a significant port. And also even the port has special consideration, where they actually use their special port construction to ensure even frequency response, etc., etc. So yeah, so yes, in general, I think an excellent loudspeaker for the money. So the value proposition is quite high, although it's in the entry level loudspeaker range. I won't call it an entry level. I think this is really the loudspeaker that will set the scene for bookshelf loudspeakers in this price bracket. So what price bracket do I say? I would say from $600 to $800 for a loudspeaker. So in South Africa you can actually buy these for around 10,000 Rand, or if you're lucky, just below that. Let's say between 9 to just over 10,000, between 9,000 just over 10,000 Rand for these loudspeakers. Yeah, so it is quite investment, but I would say for that money, I'm sure to say that I don't think you'll get actually better than these loudspeakers at that price, even considering some other makes, for instance Monitor Audio. I think about Klipsch and all of these, that is quite popular these days. But for me, the total balance and the actual overall sound quality from these loudspeakers are excellent. I was really amazed. If the placement is quite good in the room, you can achieve excellent results. I would say the performance actually approaches a floor standard loudspeaker. It's actually very good. Excellent imaging. The tops are quite open, and then it's quite a significant punch as well if you play punchy music. Mid-range is quite extended. It projects actually well into the room, and it produces actually enjoyable sound. It actually draws you into the music, and that's what first got me to be interested in these loudspeakers. I first auditioned them at the actual dealer, and already there, the moment I hear them, they actually they drawn me into the music. And then I realized that it's quite a good loudspeaker. And then when I brought them home, I connected it up to the system here, to my test system, and it produced excellent results. So what can I say about the test system? So on my power amplifier for these loudspeakers, I used the Quad 909. It's around 150 watt per channel at 8 ohms. So I would say the amplifier is well matched to the loudspeakers, and it's a solid state design. Then I actually used the Freya Plus as the preamplifier, and then I used the Alesis CD player / HD recorder to play back some files. I played some CDs, and I also play back files that are stored on its hard disk. It was, and I must say, the combination of the Alesis, the and then the Quad on the power amp were quite good. I think it was a good match. The actual interconnects that I used was from Furatech, and this is between the preamp and the power amps was from Furatech, and then between the CD player and the Freya preamp was actually from the whole balanced cables that I used. Okay, so if we consider the loudspeaker again, it's a 6.5 inch mid-bass driver, and then of course it's got 1 inch aluminium alloy tweeter, and I would say originally when I played the speaker, I thought that the mid bass driver is of excellent quality, but after a good couple of sessions, I realized that actually both these two drivers are really cutting edge technology. What I mean is just the performance that you can actually get from this loudspeaker is actually is quite high. I didn't really thought that a loudspeaker at this price bracket can actually produce such good sonics. So yeah, overall a good speaker. I can recommend it for all types of genres. It's just an excellent loudspeaker. I would say the tops are quite extended, so just make sure that if you partner it with other electronics, make sure that your overall sound signature is not too bright. Of course the loudspeaker will expose that, but if you've got decent electronics and not too bright, which you can maybe compensate with a cable here and there, I would say you can achieve excellent results. The other thing about room placement actually is not too close to the rear wall, because then the bass will become quite overpowering. But you have to play around with it, not too far away from the wall, because then otherwise you won't have what I call the coupling of the room. For me, a loudspeaker should actually couple to the room. It shouldn't be just a driver in the middle of the room trying to emanating some sound. It will sound either too thin or unrealistic. So it has to be closer to your rear wall, but of course not on the rear wall. In my instance, I think it was around 800 millimeters away from the back wall, which produced excellent results. And it was on a stand that's about 600 millimeters high. And a bit of a toe in to get a good stereo image, and off you go with excellent sound reproduction. So from my side is I can give it really for me it was excellent. So we can also have a look at the scorecard, and from there you'll notice that overall the loudspeaker is really excellent class. Of course, what I do is the results are weighted according to the price bracket. So of course the performance will be higher if it really outperforms its price bracket, and that's what I actually or what this loudspeaker achieved, the Bowers & Wilkins 606. It really overachieves for its price bracket, and it can easily compare to loudspeakers twice its price and maybe even 3 times its price. So yeah, hats off to the engineers at Bowers & Wilkins. And of course, I don't like to always give critical or negative feedback on an item, because a lot of people then just focus on the negatives. But in overall, excellent loudspeaker. The only thing that I can maybe say that is a slight negative for me is, and the engineers at Bowers & Wilkins will maybe appreciate this as well, and I think they realize this as well, that on the tweeter there's a slight effect of the cone or the tweeter playing out of a funnel. Just a slight effect like that, but it's definitely not enough to make you lose interest in the loudspeaker or off-putting. Definitely not. So a very slight effect of the tweeter unit actually playing in a bit of a funnel. But I noticed what they've done with the other designs is they actually remove the tweeter from the cabinet and have it separate at the top. So typically what they do with the 800 series. And this type of tweeter will definitely benefit from being on top of the cabinet, but of course it's not always practical to have the tweeter there. So for this design it was actually more practical to have the tweeter in the cabinet, but then it suffers slightly from that effect. But overall I don't think it causes quite a serious impact in the sound. It's just if I'm being very critical. And that's it. On the bass I couldn't fault it. On the mid-range not. It's very good integration between the tweeter and the mid-bass driver. So what you can clearly hear is also that the crossover is very well designed and with a lot of care and attention. I think the components that they chosen was very good. And overall really it's a top-notch loudspeaker, even if it's just the entry-level loudspeaker. And so yeah, so this loudspeaker can then be used for various type of applications, from just being a monitor on top of a desktop. So it can also be quite a serious loudspeaker for a stereo setup, if you have a stereo only setup and you place them on stands, you can actually have excellent results. It's the same that I've achieved in my listening room. And what's even also good about it, you actually can buy it with the original B&W stands that was actually designed especially for this loudspeaker. They are quite good looking and very sturdy from what I could see from the website, and the pricing is also very good for the stands. You know, they don't really overcharge for the stand. I think it's also, even the stands is good value for money. So guys, yeah, overall a very good loudspeaker. It really gets you know, a serious recommendation from myself, and at this stage you can even say that yeah, and from our side, the Audio Couple, we've really given it our certification of excellent. Really an excellent loudspeaker and highly recommended by the Audio Couple. So if you're in the market for a bookshelf loudspeaker or a stand mount loudspeaker, and you really want to get the ultimate of what can be achieved in a loudspeaker today of this size, I would strongly recommend you give it an audition or consider this loudspeaker for your home enjoyment of music. And this loudspeaker will definitely bring you closer to your music. So guys, yeah, just some interesting facts about the loudspeaker is then, of course, they use the continuum technology, the same technology that they've applied in the 800 series. So they've reapplied the 800 series in the 600 series, and in this specific loudspeaker, the 606. You can also notice that the Hoofer mid-range unit is actually placed in the center or the middle of the cabinet, and quite a clean design and overall look. And then what is quite interesting at the back, very sturdy binding posts, and then of course you're able to buy wire or buy amp the loudspeaker, and then there you can clearly notice quite a significant port and the specific design from B&W for better flow of the air and to ensure improved bass response, etc., etc. And then the further thing that we maybe can't see at the moment, but if you actually look inside the cabinet and you look at the Hoofer material, the Hoofer material is actually in a way transparent. You can actually see through the Hoofer, which is quite interesting, because remember, a Hoofer should actually be quite damped. So the actual, let's call it damping material that they've applied, or the effect of the woven material that they've used, actually causes the cone to be transparent. It's from the front, it's not that apparent, but really if you look through the back you can actually see it. And if I have a good picture, I'll share it with you guys. So typically what you can actually see from the back is that the Hoofer material is quite transparent. Just interesting about that. But then again, maybe if we look at the mounting, quite strong sturdy mounting. You can use, of course, banana connectors there, or spade connectors. And then, as stated before, you can actually buy wire or buy amp the loudspeaker as well. In my case, I didn't buy amp or buy wire them. I just basically used the supplied bridges and connected the loudspeaker to the amp with a signal pair of wires, you know, for each channel. And that's basically it. Very clean design, clean lines, and overall aesthetically quite pleasing. Yes. Overall design is quite pleasing, aesthetically pleasing. Quality of the materials used are excellent. So I would say it's a high-end speaker at a budget price. Really, guys, it's a good buy, and highly recommended by us, the Audio Couple. So guys, yeah, this is then us. Teresa, so what was your impression of the loudspeaker quickly? I know.
It's very good.
Yeah. Overall produced excellent results, ne? And we played a lot of the music that we play normally, a wide variety of music from female vocals, men or male vocals. We played instrumental music, we played quite modern pop music. We also played some vintage music recorded from vinyl, and also it produced excellent results. Balanced but also open, also dynamic, but I think what really impressed me was the openness of the sound, and then but still retaining a lot of punch and realism in the overall. Guys, but that's me then. Quite a mouthful, but yes, quite a lot of detail on this loudspeaker. But I think it's important for you guys to have a look at the scorecard as well, and then you can get a feeling of how this loudspeaker performed. And then also, of course, in the scorecard, what I do is I weight the score according to the price. So if it outperforms other loudspeakers in its class, of course it will get a higher rating that you'll see. But clearly this loudspeaker does, it outperforms a lot of other competition or similar priced loudspeakers in its class. And that's us again, wrapping up then, myself and Teresa signing off for the audio couple. And then if you like our videos, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of our videos, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And thanks again guys for making time to look at our videos, and enjoy. Cheers.